From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling the same. And it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles. And as I already said, if you guys need a sports book, join pickyuraction.com. Bettors who sign up will have deposits matched up 100% up to $1,000. They also offer daily payouts as well, too, which everybody loves via Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle. So use my promo code POPNEW, and you guys will be invited to, if you like, you will become a client with me for at least a month or so, and you get my free exclusive bets and everything like that. So if you were interested in getting my bets and things like that, that's how you meet me in the middle, okay? So with that, we're going to go ahead and we are going to start our show, and let's jump into it, and let's talk about the Heat. Still game 2 in Denver, beating the Nuggets 111-108 after being down double digits. Now, that was a huge moment for this Miami team, because Miami is a team that a lot of people just don't understand why they are so good. Why are they here? Why do they have all these undrafted players? Blah, 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 blah. But last night, they had key contributions from those said players I just named. Gabe Vincent actually led all scorers for the Heat last night. He scored 23 points, 4 to 6 from the three-point line, 8 to 12 from the field. Also, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo combined for 42 points. They both had 21 points each in 40 minutes of play. Bam was able to get his 9 rebounds last night and 4 assists as well. Jimmy Butler had 9 assists to 4 rebounds, so this was an absolute epic effort. And Bam did this with 4 fouls as well, too, but he played a hell of a game last night. If anybody really helped this team go ahead and try to win this actual game last night. Max Strus did set the tone in the first quarter when he was able to hit 4 threes off the top. That was pretty huge for them as well. And Kyle Lowry, he only had 9 points, but they were very, very needed points when he did hit for those points as well, too. He wound up shooting 2 for 3 from the three-point line and going 3 for 3 from the free throw line. So that just goes to show you had some timely threes that were right on the money for them. And Kevin Love probably played the best amount, but probably used his 22 minutes the best anybody has used their minutes in the finals. Kevin was very productive. He only went 2 of 9 from the field, but those were 2 3-pointers as well, too, that he hit. And also he had 10 rebounds last night. Very key to getting this team to win. Now, a guy who was really off last night, in my opinion, was Cody Zeller, who was absolutely kind of like a liability in reality, and it was just really bad to see. But all in all, everybody else played pretty well last night. And I think Duncan Robinson's 10 points to start off the fourth quarter were pretty instrumental in this team winning the game. Now, when you look at the Nuggets, on the other hand, they had Jokic, 41 points, 11 rebounds last night. They only got 18 points, but they got 10 assists as well, too, from Jamal Murray. Aaron Gordon stepped up his game. He had 12 to 7 rebounds last night. And as usual, Bruce Brown has been the most reliable person off the bench. He gets 11 points last night. But other than that, they didn't get much. You know, Jeff Green scored more points than Michael Porter Jr. last night. And that's not good. Michael Porter Jr. is a guy that they need to get 12, 14, 15 points from every time out. So pretty much this is like really it's a very sketchy type situation here. I told you guys on Friday that if you thought that this series was somewhat over, if you thought that this series was just automatically going to go right directly to the Nuggets because they had such a great game one that, pretty much I don't know if you know that much about basketball, because the thing is the Heat were never really out of this thing. They had a great second half last night. They had a great second half in game one. Nuggets, on the other hand, have had really good second quarters and really good. First quarter's been decent, but they've had really good second quarters in both of their in both of the games and pretty much throughout the playoffs as well too. So that's a key quarter for them to really get off in. But when they got into the second half, they were able to still catch a little bit of that momentum, but Miami just kept chipping and chipping and chipping and chipping, and then opened up the fourth quarter on a 12-2 run. So that's the difference in winning and losing. I look at the stats right now. You got 28 to 23 assists. That was favored to Miami. Now, again, the Nuggets won the rebounding battle like they did in game one, 38 to 31, and they had 9 offensive rebounds last night as well too. So that means that they got extra attempts as well. And also they had 7 steals. So you tell yourself, how did they lose this game? 13 turnovers. And they weren't blocking shots last night, but the Heat were. The Heat had 4 block shots. So all in all, when you look at this game, we got ourselves a series here. It's exciting to see the series actually have some life to it, some drama to it. You know what I mean? And I really feel like Jokic is playing at a level that's been seen before because he's playing basic basketball, but he's playing it at a high level. Now, I know one thing that Spoelstra pretty much said in his press conference, and it was something that I was really chiming on about how when Jokic scores an obscene amount of points, they usually wind up losing the game. And that's been happening during the regular season, and that's been very highlighted during the playoffs. Now, they haven't lost that much during the playoffs. Let's keep it real. But in 3 games where he scored 40-plus points, he's actually wound up losing those games. And I pointed that out before they even pointed the stat out that it seems that the Denver Nuggets play really good when Jokic is directing all the traffic, and then he gets his points almost last out the group. But then when he has to go ahead and take it upon himself and actually score, this is what happens when you're the director of the ship. That when you have to start scoring more points than more points in a more dominant way, where you're actually taking more shots than you're usually used to taking, then usually this winds up turning your teammates into spectators. And I truly feel like that's exactly what happened to the Nuggets last night when Jokic started cooking in the third quarter. And then also there was just really bad lapses on defense from Denver. Denver plays way better defense than they did last night, and they had a ton of lapses. That's why guys like Gabe Vincent were able to shoot the way that they shot last night. Same thing goes with Strus as well too, because they're saying to themselves, we'll let these guys beat us, but we don't want to let Bam and Jimmy beat us. We don't want to let Kyle Larry beat us, but we'll let these no-name guys beat us. That's why those guys are getting open shots. But in game 3, they're going to make the adjustment, and they're going to make those guys actually work for their money. Same thing goes for the Nuggets role players as well too. That was what was keyed on last night by Miami, to take these guys out of the game and make Jokic the centerpiece to everything. Jamal Murray put a little bit too much pressure on himself last night, and Aaron Gordon's not going to get you more than 16 points, it seems like. That's just what it is with the guy. So you needed Michael Porter Jr. to come up a little bit bigger last night, and you needed KCP to be the X factor last night, which he was not. So when you really get down to the gist of it, Miami won this game the good old fashioned hard way to do it. You know what I mean? Good old fashioned dog style. Pause. But still, this is a very, very good series that we got going on. I'm going to say it one last time before I wrap this up. And I'm looking forward to Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to talking about more and more matchups within this series. But after watching last night's game, there's just a lot that you can take into game 3. And when you look at it, there's no way that they don't favor Miami just a little bit, or it's somewhat of a 2.5 point spread to the Nuggets, because we got ourselves a series here. And That's it, and that's all. But I look forward to it. 1-1, headed back to Miami, and we'll see how it goes. But the NBA Finals is pretty exciting at this moment. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. Let's talk about Scoot Henderson. Scoot Henderson has a lot of eyes on him. Where does he fit, and is he the best player in the NBA draft? Well, after Wemby, they would consider Scoot the best American prospect, best U.S. prospect, best prospect. Period. I don't know, but he didn't play college basketball. He went and decided to go play in the G League, which is a step up from playing in college basketball. But really, is it at the end of the day? Because you don't learn the proper ways of playing basketball when you skip college. He's still kind of like in a street ball mentality somewhat. And, in the NBA, it's a little different, and the G League's a little different too, because sometimes guys really aren't playing defense in those leagues. They're just trying to get to the next levels because they feel like offense is going to get them to that next level. But Scoot's it was in somewhat of a training program. The Ignite, that's what you look at when you see them, is that it's a training program for guys that couldn't. Well, they say that they didn't want to go to college. I'm going to keep it real with you. They're guys that couldn't qualify for college. How about that? And they would have had to go to a JUCO. They can lie to you guys all day and tell you that these guys are some great students and everything like that. But the way that they set up high school basketball nowadays, when did the guys ever go to school? It seems like they're always in a gym. So pretty much, school is not on your mind. And I think that sometimes you have to really say to yourself, this may be a red flag, because the guy wants everything, and he wants everything a little bit too fast. And that's one thing that I feel like has been kind of detrimental to this whole let's go from the G League, Ignite to the league instead of going to college, because they literally put you into a little box, and now you're just there. And I totally feel that when it comes down to it, that you have somewhat of a problem here, because you're really not able to evaluate these guys the way that you want to. You're not seeing them play against different type of defensive schemes that you get in college. You're not seeing them take on a big moment in a game, because college just has way more coverage than the G League. And I know that they're trying to make it to where the G League can rival college. But, at the end of the day, the traditions and the rivalries of college will always destroy whatever they got going in their little minor league feeder program to the NBA. Because at the end of the day, the NBA is a toxic situation. We all know that. And they really are trying to figure out a way to where they can really preserve their young talent and make sure that these guys get to the NBA. And that's why he has to play in the Ignite League, because guys kind of want to skip the line, and they're literally letting you skip the line. But this isn't a good idea, in my opinion, because it's not doing any good for Jalen Green, who's over in Houston. He had a great time with the Ignite, but, you barely talk about that guy. He's playing well, but you're barely talking about him. You know what I mean? So, and then you got Kuminga as well, too. He's just a bench warmer on the Warriors. So it's like, what's there to get excited about? Because I didn't see anything about you this year in college basketball. I just see a guy that says that he's the best player coming into the NBA draft. How can I really believe you? He does seem to have all the measurables, though. And they want to compare him to Derrick Rose. They want to compare him to Dame Lillard. They want to compare him to all these guys. But Dame Lillard, Derrick Rose, all these guys play college basketball. So when you look at the fit, you say to yourself, Charlotte already has LaMelo, but are they thinking about moving on from LaMelo? Because they can acquire assets for LaMelo. And if I was Charlotte, I would be looking at it somewhat of a move that how can we get this guy to Brooklyn? How can we get this guy to New York so I can get some of these assets from them? Because I know that these teams will give up, whatever. They'll give up some things for this type of star power in that city. So, that's something that you had to look at. But I don't think that Charlotte's in the business of drafting another high-flying big hyped point guard. They already have one in LaMelo. Then you look over and you see Portland. Portland has Dame Lillard, who I promise you there's probably a 75% chance that he's never going to play for the Blazers again, and he'll be on a brand new roster next year, because regardless of what he says, regardless of how he feels, Portland seems to be a little tired of him. They're not saying it out loud, but the writing's kind of on the wall. Is that they're not getting anything out of winning with Dame Lillard. You know what I mean? They're not winning anything with him. He's just having a great career. You know what I mean? He's just having a great shooting moment. And if you're a coach, I'm gonna be dead honest with you. And I know this is gonna ruffle some feathers. This is probably gonna piss some people off, but I don't really care, because we always say something that pisses somebody off. But Dame Lillard, I would never want to coach a player like that. You're pulling up from half court and we're in a playoff game, dog. Come on, man. And I know it's not half court, but you're pulling up from 40 feet out, dude. And we have plenty of basketball game left. I don't have time for you to do these park shots and do these trick shots. And that's why you're not winning championships. That's why you've never been to a conference finals, because you're not playing the game the right way. And it's that simple. Kobe Bryant tried to explain this to you guys a lot, and nobody wanted to listen. Everybody thought Kobe was being too critical. He was being too mean. He was being too whatever. But at the end of the day, reckless basketball does not equate to winning basketball. And so pretty much if you're the Blazers, you should be at your wits' end with this guy, because you're not winning games, and you literally regressed this season. And you got younger guys that are much cheaper than him. You can get a ton of draft picks for later on down the road, because some team will be dumb enough to give all of them up for Dame Lillard, i.e. somebody like the Clippers, but the Clippers ain't got no picks, okay? So there's just a lot of things that play a part into it, and, the Blazers have a strong hand right now. So I would say that Scoot probably is best suited to go to the Blazers, because the Blazers, if he goes to the Blazers, that just means Dame Lillard is gone. And I would say Dame Lillard can be gone right before we even get to draft night, to be honest with you. Because, come on, if you're reasonable, you're moving on from this guy. You truly are. He can go be some team that feels like they're going to win an NBA championships problem. Then he can see how hard it is to really win in this league with a really great team when you play reckless basketball. So with that, that's where I'm taking that one. And we move forward. But I think Scoot's a good kid. I just think that it's a little bit too early to be saying that guys are going to be impact players on their teams in the NBA right away. I don't think that's true at all. So we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about another young prospect, another really good player, but he's already in the pros. Bryce Young getting rave reviews during OTAs. What should the expectation be for this rookie year? Okay. What's going on, nephew? How's everything going with you? I hope you just saw what we was talking about with Scoot and everything like that. So pretty much we have ourselves a very tense situation, because a lot of people feel like Bryce Young is going to be a guy that it's going to be a little tough, right? I guess people feel that way, that it's not going to be, as easy as it's been for him on every single level he's been on. But people have to understand who Bryce Young truly is. Bryce Young played for Mater Dei High School. If you're not, and I understand a lot of people who watch this show aren't from California, but if you're very aware of what goes on in high school football, Mater Dei is the Alabama of the state of California, literally. Like, they're Alabama, USC, whatever top blue blood program you want to call out there, it's Mater Dei. When you say who's the signature program in the state of California, you say Mater Dei. It's like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They literally have like a wall of NFL players, and they produced, I don't know, like 30 guys that have went to the NFL in like the last 5-6 years. So Bryce Young wound up being one of their greatest quarterbacks ever. The guy started he started at a time where it was really tough for a guy like this to start at this time of his career. He started first day his sophomore year, and he was coming from another school, Cathedral, where he had already cooked it up, had a great time killing it over there. and then he goes to Modern Day, and he goes and absolutely kills it. He absolutely wrecks it. I think he was there 4 years. I don't know, but he was a starter right away, and he was somebody that was of value to this team. So at the end of the day, he's a leader. That's what he does. He leads. So then he gets picked up by Nick Saban, the toughest coach in all of. Oh man, you see what I done started? You see what I done started? Look, Bosco, let's keep it real. Bosco is good, but Bosco just came around maybe 15 years ago. Bosco was good, but they wasn't. Look, I'm going back on, I'm phasing it off from when I was in high school. You know what I mean? And De La Salle, yes, De La Salle does run the Bay, but I haven't heard much about De La Salle in years. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys on that one. And then Bosco, Bosco does have a lot of the quarterback prospects, but they not producing NFL guys the way that Modern Day is. So pretty much I would say that if you really want to get into who's doing this and who's not doing this, Long Beach Poly is another school that produces a lot of NFL guys. So pretty much, let me get back to my point though. So we have a guy that went to Alabama, toughest school in the nation to get a starting spot at. They have the creme de la creme, the top tier of players coming to that school. Period, point blank. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got the best of the best coming there. And Bryce just absolutely cooked. He absolutely did exactly what you were supposed to do. Yes, he had to come in and he had to wait, but he waited behind a national championship winning quarterback. And I'm in the MAC, you know what I mean? So pretty much, he had that guy to play off of. Also, he had Tua and Jalen Hurts, all these guys on line one if he needed somebody to talk to. So literally, he took this team over and became a rock star almost immediately with this team because he stepped it up and did things that you just don't envision a guy this small doing. And he did it. So pretty much him going to the Panthers and impressing the whole team. He already has linemen talking about, I can't wait to block for this guy. I can't wait to win with this guy. He has defensive guys over there like, well, he's going to make my life a lot easier because this guy has came in from day one and he knows exactly what it takes to be a quarterback. It doesn't matter what level it is. When you're a natural born leader and you're a natural quarterback, you just know exactly what to do. It ain't no, I need to go over here. I need to learn this and learn that. They said that the guy's already mastered the playbook. And, he just got drafted a few months ago. Like not even a few months ago, like weeks ago. So how would you already have mastered the playbook? That means that he literally made the coach send the playbook the night of the draft so he could start studying on the playbook. So when you got a guy like this, he can take your team to a different level. And I truly do feel like it's like when the Panthers picked up Cam Newton. They're not the same player, okay? We don't have to start the debating on who's better and who's this, that, and the third. But the type of impact that is looking like he's gonna make, it looks like it's gonna be like Cam, but beyond, because he plays the quarterback position a little bit differently from Cam. He's a little bit more in the pocket. He's a little bit more into making the good, accurate throws as well too. And he plays a bit smarter. Cam used to have to play on instincts, literally ad-libbing, which was beautiful to see because when you're that big and that good, you can ad-lib and do a lot of stuff. But when you're kind of compacted and really small like Bryce, you have to make these things work and you damn near have to be perfect, but you got to even be better than perfect. You know what I mean? So when I look at this Carolina Panthers team, I see a team that possibly can be a team that can run the really run the table in the NFC South. You know what I mean? So it is what it is at the end of the day, man. It's going to be a really tough division to win. Everybody's already canceling out the Buccaneers. We'll talk about them a little bit later on this week, but you can't cancel out a team that has a quarterback that already went to the playoffs. Same thing goes with New Orleans. You got Derek Carson over there now. Now everybody thinks New Orleans is going to be the number one team in the division. And then you see Atlanta over there, and Atlanta has a lot of it's just like Carolina. They thinking young. They thinking new. You know what I mean? So, it's going to be an exciting division this year. And that's all I'm seeing right now with the NFC South. But I'm excited about what is to come for Bryce Young. And to be honest with you guys, I think Bryce Young is an absolute must for either your backup quarterback, or say you missed the quarterbacks early in the fantasy drafts. Hey, man, you can scoop this guy up 8th, 9th round. And I'm over here kind of giving away my hand because I already have plans to have this guy as my backup this year, because I already have. But hopefully I can beat out this guy for who I'm looking at for number one. But we'll get there when it's time to talk about fantasy. So let's go ahead and jump into the Bills. The Bills. Are the Bills going to regress this season after last season's flop in the playoff? You know what? I had the Bills winning the Super Bowl last year. I was gung-ho on the Bills, 6-1. I was excited like, man, the Bills are going to do this. They got the best quarterback in football, and Josh Allen, the guy loves to play. You got Stephon Diggs, one of the most unguardable wide receivers in the league, blah, 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 blah. So, what's wrong? Oh, yeah, they got a great defense too. Just signed Ed Oliver back to extension as well. Everything seemed like it was on the money because these guys love playing with each other. They love playing in Buffalo. The fans of Buffalo love them. And everything just was feeling like 1990 all over again. But I forgot. Josh ain't Jim Kelly, okay? They don't have a Thurman Thomas back there. They don't have Stephon Diggs is great, but he doesn't have a James Lofton. Keep it real. You know what I mean? He plays Andre Reed to what? They got some good receivers, but they need another great receiver. Now, DeAndre Hopkins is a big, big name that's out there. And the Bills have already shown interest in this guy. But do the Bills have the money? That's the whole thing. The Bills just signed Ed Oliver to extension. They're already having to hold up money right now to sign Josh Allen to a monster extension where he'll probably become the highest paid player in all of football. So they're kind of have their hands tied at the moment when it comes to bringing in a premier star player, because you have to really gauge it. Is Hopkins looking for a short-term deal, or is Hopkins looking for a final deal where this is going to make the most sense? This is my final team. I'm trying to get a 3-4 year deal with this team right here, and it's over and done with, but I'm trying to make sure I get all my money. Well, the thing is, if he wants to win, he will probably choose Buffalo. If he wants to just take some money, we do have a few teams out there that can afford to pay for him. That's the whole thing. But I think that if he's thinking about winning right now, there has to be 5 teams on his mind. Buffalo's one of them. The second team I would say that's in that group would be the Chiefs. Third team would be the Ravens. Fourth team, believe it or not, even though I know they probably can't do anything, and he probably wouldn't do anything with them right now, the 49ers. And then also a surprise team. I know they probably don't have the dollars, but they can make it make sense. The Jaguars. Those are 5 teams right there that you can win right now with. So pretty much, what does he want to do? That's the biggest question. And I look at it and I say, okay, well, the Jets, you already kind of sacrificed some things for Rodgers, and you went and got players that you weren't planning on getting, but you went and got them anyway. So if you go get Hopkins, then you really need to guarantee that this team goes to the playoffs. Because if they wound up missing the playoffs, there is no more patience for Salah. Sorry, Salah would be gone. And if they had a losing record, say mid-season, Salah would be gone. So they're risking their locker room because they would have bigger expectations than ever. This will probably be the biggest expectations the Jets had since Rex Ryan was there. And they kept thinking that they was going to beat the Patriots. So, that's how I look at it. That's how I see it. But the DeAndre Hopkins situation is going to be one that we all do look at very closely for some time. I think that he's going to take his time. I don't think that he's going to be picking any teams anytime soon. I think that you'll probably get a D Hopkins sign after the OTAs. I know he doesn't want to show up for OTAs, so he's not worried about signing with the team right now. I think what happens is when they take their quick 2-3 week break, which is going to occur in the next week or two, then he'll go ahead and he'll sign with the team, because I know that he's weighing his options and he's doing his own homework on all these teams. And, I look at this and I say the Bills really messed up because they're not going after Zeke. I think the Bills need to go after Zeke Elliott, because that's the guy that could be their short yardage running back. You know what I mean? They have to figure out a way to save Josh Allen from himself. Josh Allen is an injury away from the season being over, dog. I'm telling you. And it was close. It was too close so many times last season. And I just think that it's just too close to call with a guy. And you need to really look at it and say, okay, Zeke, you got to look at it in the Moneyball sense. Zeke's not a guy that is what he was anymore, but we still want what he is. A great, smart football player that can actually be an extra blocker for your quarterback as well, too. Nobody wants to say this, but Zeke is one of the better blocking backs in the NFL. And what do the Bills need most? They need a blocking back. That was the one thing that was getting Josh Allen killed last year, because his running back wasn't helping him at all. So, at the end of the day, I feel like, the Bills are in a good spot, but they can regress, because you have a guy that can really spoil the rest of the group, and that's Diggs. You have to figure out what you're going to do with Diggs. You know what I mean? Diggs has already said a lot. You know what I mean? And I would say if you were to chase Hopkins, you could say, okay, we do have the opportunity to go ahead and trade this guy and go get some more assets for down the road. You know what I mean? And see what we can do with the receivers we bring into camp. But then you're really gambling there, because DeAndre Hopkins, the jury's still out. Does he still have anything? But we'll get more on it as we go. But pretty much with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. And when we get back, we will be talking about the baseball for today. We don't have much baseball going on, but we will have some baseball going on in a bit. But yeah, Mahomes and D-Hop will be a good combination, but you just got to hope that the guy is healthy. He can have more excuses with the Chiefs, though. Like, if he's hurt, late, not feeling good, he can go say, hey, I'm sitting out today. But if he's on another team that really needs him, they're going to really try their hardest to get this guy to really play football. You know what I mean? So with that, we'll have more to talk about that as we move forward. But good chat. I'm glad that you guys are participating today. And once again, you guys pick your action. We got a bunch of games going on today. You guys check them out. Use my promo code POPNEW, and you guys will be in line to get yourself a month of my exclusive client bets. So with that, we'll be right back. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Cappers.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
We do have big boxing going on this week as well, too. Pretty much we got my man Teofimo Lopez fighting at the Garden against Josh Taylor, former undisputed light welterweight champion, junior welterweight, whatever they like to call it, super lightweight. I don't know, 140 bridge division. Yeah, but still, he's been a champion there for a bit. But he's only down to one belt now, so he's not undisputed anymore. Got a lot of his belts stripped. I'm still trying to focus in and see if the guy's even going to really make weight this week as well, too. But we're going to talk more about the fight as the week goes along and as we get press conferences and things like that. But all in all, I'm excited. I can't wait because that Devin Haney fight really left an impression on me. Even though I cover boxing and everything like that, I haven't been ringside at any fights this year. And pretty much I really, that was the first fight I really sat in and really looked at the fight. And man, it was a great fight, man. Because I watch fights, but like literally, I was tuned in though. I was tuned into that one. So I'm looking forward to this next one. ESPN, you're doing a damn good job right now with the way that you're presenting these matchups as well too. So let's go ahead and jump into the Dodgers and the Dodgers, yeah. If T.O. wins, that's what we all want. We want T.O. to win because T.O. can continue to get bigger fights, things like that. If Josh Taylor wins, what happens is the guy wins. He'll talk a bunch of trash. Then he'll go back home, go sit for another year, then talk some more trash, then move up, and then fight some bum, and then the story continues. It sounds a lot like another guy named Tyson Fury who literally now is blaming the rest of the heavyweight class on why he can't book a fight. The boy got $1 billion situation behind him, can book any fight in the world. All he wants to do is just be a celebrity world champion. That's all he is. He just likes being famous. It's that simple. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the Dodgers. The Dodgers, disappointing this weekend. Dodgers wind up, Dodgers lose the series to the Yanks in the rubber match after pitchers duel at the Ravine, losing 4-1. The Dodgers, there wasn't a run scored until the seventh inning, and JD Martinez hit a bomb, and it was 1-1. Then it was 2-1 on some like whatever ho-hum play. But then Anthony Volpe went ahead and pretty much opened up the door off Ferguson, hit a 2-run shot yesterday to end that one. The Yankees wound up winning the last 2 games of the series. The Dodgers kicked it off with a big time effort to start the series, beating them 8-4. But the Dodgers had kicked off that game. They were up, I think, 6-0 before the game, before you could even get your seat warm. So that was a pretty good series this weekend. I think a lot of people have the wrong idea about the Dodgers right now. I think don't put too much pressure on the Dodgers. Why are you putting pressure on the Dodgers? You don't need to do that. The Dodgers are fine. What is it that you want the Dodgers to do? The Dodgers have spoiled everybody so much over the last 2 years that people really don't understand that, you had to sometimes you got to take a few steps back to really see your greatness. And the Dodgers aren't playing bad baseball. They're just not winning 12 games in a row this year. They're winning more like 4 or 5, 6. Then they'll lose 2 out of 3. That's how you get to 90, 95 wins on a season. That's how you go ahead and put yourself in different situations. And that makes you a better baseball team. Baseball is not a sprint. It's a marathon, and it's a long marathon. So a lot of people have to understand baseball is not about what's going on right now. It's about what's going to go on in the fall. The Dodgers are preparing themselves better than any team at this point. They're doing evaluations all throughout the year. Teams like the Padres don't know where they're going to go because they have all these great players that ain't doing nothing. Diamondbacks are playing above expectations right now. Giants, Giants always feel like they'll be somewhat in the mix. They're going to chase as long as they chasing the Dodgers, they're fine. Rockies, come on. Rockies are literally a minor league or literally a AAA team, even though they're a high-end AAA team. Let's keep it real, because the Rockies will have some pretty good days where 4 or 5 days out there, they can have a week where they win maybe 3 or 4 games in a row, and you're like, damn, Rockies did that. And the Rockies probably might have some of the best overall hitters on their roster. It's just that they don't have any pitching. It's just that simple. So the Dodgers, they start June off even money. Let's just say that they're even money right now. Okay. And I really feel like the Dodgers, next series coming up, they got a six game road trip coming up. Okay. They got 3 in Cincinnati, 3 in Philadelphia, and they'll be back in LA next Tuesday for another 6-game homestand. So the Dodgers really do have it this week where this is a good week to try to get 5 out of 6, 4 out of 6. You don't want to finish this week even, because now you have the Diamondbacks on your tail. They're right behind them. So they have to make sure that they get this thing done. That they win some games here. Cincinnati's going to be tough. Let's keep it real. Luke Weaver, that's not going to be too tough, but they got Tony Gosselin on the mound. Syndergaard's day, that's where you question things a little bit, but he's going against Brandon Williamson. And then you have Clayton Kershaw going against Graham Ashcroft, who just got destroyed the other day. So that's who's coming up in the upcoming series. And there's just a lot of great things to get ourselves into as we move forward. So the Dodgers lose the series this weekend, much anticipated series, probably the biggest audience, the attendance the Dodgers will get this year from any team that comes to the stadium this year, because the Yankees have fans worldwide just like the Dodgers do. And you know what the execs are looking at in New York City right now? Can these two finally get their heads out their butts and get us the World Series that we've been waiting for the last 20 years? Because nothing's better than Yankees Dodgers, and really nothing's better than an LA New York championship, and everybody knows that. All right, so let's move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about some baseball real quick. We got ourselves some pretty good games going on tonight. MLB Monday Night. We got 8 games. A lot of them are going early. We got the Rays going in the next 15 minutes, and they're actually a part of our today's pick 4 as well too. So that's why I got to be kind of quick with this. Let's go ahead and jump into the first game that I have on the board, and that's going to be the Royals and the Marlins. The Royals coming into this game 18-41. The Marlins are 32-28. You have a Marlins team that probably has one of the best pitching staffs in the league that nobody's talking about. You have a Kansas City team that's just going through the motions right now. They already knew that they were going to have a bad season, but they're trying at points. You know what I mean? So we'll see how it goes with them. But all in all, though, I think that the Royals today should be really good. They got Carlos Hernandez on the mound, so they're going to rely on their bullpen a little bit more. Braxton Garrett, he's always a 50-50 pitcher. Don't look at his ERA and think that he's a bad pitcher. Don't look at his record and think that he's a bad pitcher. He's just a guy that's never a part of decisions. You know what I mean? And but he did have a game where he did get absolutely dragged. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I like the Royals today with my dog bet of the day. And I think I've had the Royals in the dog bet spot at least 12 to 15 times this season. And the A's as well, too, because these guys they're never not a dog. That's what the funniest thing about the Kansas City Royals is. So I'm taking them today with the plus 135. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and get into our next game, which is going to be a doozy. This one is going to be the game of the day. It's going to be the Astros and the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays come into this one 33-27. You got an Astros team 35-24. Astros playing their best baseball of the year at this point. They've really went ahead and opened it up. They actually wound up winning 3 out of 4 in that Angels series this weekend as well. And they've been really good here over the last 10 games. They've only lost 3 games. They've won 70% of their games in that stretch. They lost 2-1 yesterday. They come in here with a 4-gamer against Toronto, kicking it off tonight. They got Manoah on the mound as well too. So this should be a good little way for all of us just to, look at a game and tell ourselves that, you got two teams that are probably going to see each other in the playoffs if the Blue Jays can ever get it together, not be in last place. So hopefully we can get that playoff matchup this year with the Astros and the Blue Jays. But the way that the pitchers are setting up in this game, Manoah has pitched a lot better than he has in the last game. And Brandon Billick has been really good. They have, he's new to the bunch, but he's been really good. He hasn't given up more than 4 runs in a game. So he's been good. And he struck out 6, only gave up 1 run last game out against Minnesota. So he should be ready to go tonight on the road. This should be a good one. I like the under. Let's see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. We move forward from there. All right, and the nightcap, the game, we got the Cubs and the Padres wrapping up their series. And it's funny, you get a rare Monday game between a team that played a weekend series. So you have the Cubs coming in here 26-32. You have the Padres 27-32. So these teams are not that far apart from each other when it comes to the standings and everything like that. You look at this and you say to yourself, well, the Padres were supposed to be better than this, right? Well, they're 2 games out of being in last place right now. And you have this Cubs team that's actually sitting in 3rd place right now, and they're 5.5 games out of the division lead. So pretty much, the Cubs had themselves a game. Stroman was absolutely ginormous yesterday. He had himself a game of games. He gave up no runs yesterday. And, he did shut out the Rays last game as well, too. So this guy's had 10 quality starts in a row, and he's been pitching very well. So Dodgers, get your prospects ready. I think you got yourself a pitcher there. I think you got you. If the Cubs want to be a little froggy and leap, they might be able to get themselves some A1 assets from the Dodgers. You never know. But tonight, though, this is where I'm going with this one. This one is a scoreboard watch. You got Blake Snell on the mound for the Padres. You got Henderson on the mound for the Cubs. I like the over in this spot because you know that Snell is going to start getting hit by the time it's the 5th or 6th inning. And Hendricks has shown that, you can light him up as well, too. So with that, that's going to be our 3 games for tonight. And we move forward. And let's go ahead and jump into Talkin Tickets. And Talkin Tickets is where we at. And Talkin Tickets is what we love to do. And pretty much Talkin Tickets, we only got one group for you. And that's going to be this group right here. It's going to be the 17-1 primetime pick for today. We got a 1.5 to the Rays plus 120. That game starts in the next 10 minutes. We also had a Royals money line plus 135. That is the prime time bet of the day. This is the PrimeTime Angles bet of the day. Best bet of, dog bet of the day, man. I'm over here ready to get to lunch, I guess. All right, so pretty much it's under 10 with the Astros and the Blue Jays, and then it's over 8.5 with the Cubs and the Padres. So there it is. 17-1 ticket. And just like that, we have ourselves another great show. I thank you guys so much for tuning in today. You guys are the absolute best. And you guys already know what time it is. You guys can watch this show on my YouTube channel, Prime Wave Media. You guys can watch it all day on the Twitter. But if you are on Twitter, make sure that you do retweet the show as well. If you're on Facebook, make sure you share the show. So with that, I want to thank you guys once again for tuning in. And this is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.